Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
All I want to ask you is, what was it like driving to Kansas City for that and hanging out with Taylor Swift in the same, you and 75,000 other people, you and Taylor, what was that like?
You know what? It was, I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of games in KC, a bunch of playoff games. I was at the AFC Championship game last year that they won. I was at the 2019 that they lost to the Patriots. But the game on Saturday night, Rod, albeit not a championship game to go to the Super Bowl, was as memorable as any I've been to. And obviously the environment, the cold was next level. I mean, like I was saying to my buddy Dustin Nielsen yesterday in the lock shop, I mean, I'm from Winnipeg. I've been cold my whole life. I don't know if I've ever been as cold as I was on Saturday night at Arrowhead Stadium. And I was prepared for it. I mean, boots, one of those big Canada Goose jackets, multiple scarves, and all. It was a challenge. And just to think about what those players were going through on the field was amazing to watch. I mean, the atmosphere was wild. I mean, it was sort of survival in the stands for the most part. But once the game was pretty much done in that final 5 minutes, you saw the swag surf happening in the entire stadium. It was a special night, one that I think really got a lot of momentum again behind the Chiefs and their fans, who frankly have been spoiled during the Mahomes era, watching them, kind of be the number one team each year. And now it sets up the game everybody wanted to see. Chiefs Bills in prime time in the divisional round. And I can't wait for the game.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
And what was it like coaching the Panthers in the 90s at the old Miami Arena? And he said it was in a bad end of town, and the police told him, when you come to a red light around the arena, don't stop. Keep rolling through because they'll come and steal your car. And he was driving an 86 Toyota Corolla. So he said he came up to a red light, and he didn't stop. He rolled through the red intersection, and some local yelled at him, "Don't worry, we wouldn't steal that piece of garbage."
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome to a Football Friday here on your favorite daytime sports talk show. It's the RP Show coming at you live from beautiful South Florida. As you can see, we're on the Game Plus television network, live across Canada, and 31 U.S. states. We're on the radio in Atlanta, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live. And listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, right off the jump, coming up on the program today, right away, Rod Black, the iconic broadcaster, first ever voice of the Raptors. Jim Barker in segment 2, five-time Grey Cup champion, our football analyst. And Jim Clubberlang in hour 2, the author of many best-selling leather-bound books. And very quickly here in the warm-up, we're going to get to the NFL divisional playoffs, some CFL news, the NHL tonight, and let's bring in Rod Black because this might be the NHL. Last night, the Leafs came back to beat the Flames 4-3. Blackie, welcome to the program. I'm just going to jump right into it because I know you like to talk. That's what broadcasters do. We open the show with what's the big story? What's the big story? If you walk into the coffee shop on Coffee Row, what are they talking about? What's in your vortex of the big story today?
Well, I think there's a lot of big stories, but I think, where you call it Football Friday, I think everybody's clearly excited about the weekend. I think that's an enormous story. I'm down in the so-called center of the universe in Canada, in Toronto, and the Raptors took the Leafs this week off the front pages because of the deal that they made. And of course, as everybody knows, Pascal Siakam no longer a Raptor. In fact, if you look at the team picture, Rod, from 2019 in the NBA championship, I'm in a room that's not far away from Bay Street where they had that enormous parade that parade just ended, by the way. That parade just ended. It was a long parade. But I will tell you that the biggest thing that everybody seemingly talked about this week was the Raptors and what they're doing here in Toronto. But obviously, they were also talking about the stumbling Leafs of late, and they finally righted the ship last night. But I still think it's all about football this weekend. I don't know about you, but there were a lot of blowouts in last week's games. I have a feeling we're not going to see that now. I think we've got the cream of the crop here. I think you could have 4 absolutely outstanding close football games this weekend.
Well, listen, we don't have you for a long time, but we do have you for a good time. You talk about whatever you want. The betting lines, the spreads are a lot narrower this week, which tells me the betting companies are expecting closer games. So there you go. But if you don't mind, there's no wrong answer to that big story question. Because it annoys me that I don't get any NBA stuff across my phone now, because now with AI, it just pops up what I'm searching for. It's all NHL stuff. And, I'd like to get
that and Viagra. That's all. I got to get a lot of that on my, and I'm telling you, I am very popular right now with all of these Russian women. I have never been more. I don't know.
Bet.
They're all. That's like, again, AI on your phones. The algorithms, how they work. It's a little insane. But I'm sure you're the same. And you talk about big stories. Is your notifications, and the notifications this week were again, I think baseball also. The fact that there are still some players out there that nobody seems to want to grab right now. It looks like Shohei Ohtani, by the way. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this is going to open up baseball. Like, look at all the money they're going to give everybody." Well, Rod, they shut it down, and it's almost like collusion now. I think in the next week you're going to see a lot of baseball players move. But I think the biggest picture really in sports, maybe for me right now, is watching the Edmonton Oilers play hockey. I really. We saw how bad. I think the last time I was on your show, we were talking about how bad they were, and the fact that they were making coaching changes. And Paul Coffey came, and now everybody's going, man, 12 in a row. So it's the beauty of sports. This is what I love about it, and this is why you do it, and that's why you're the all-world Rod. What did you say? How many states are you in now? How many states?
31.
Like you are
30.
Just 31. Let's get you to 50, man. We're gonna get you there. But that's why the beauty of sports is that there's always something going on. And there's always something, by the way, great, good, the bad, and the ugly, and sometimes even nefarious. But I love it and that's why you love it, is that there's such great stories every single day.
Well, thank God today we're not talking about anything nefarious, but we're just past noon. So there's a lot of nefarious things that could happen. But our poll question is, what will be the best playoff game in the NFL this weekend, divisional playoff games? And the poll, as everybody knows, brought to you by Key Auto Group. At Key Auto Group, we're driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. So I'm not asking what'll be the closest game or any of that, but the options are these: Houston at Baltimore, Green Bay at San Francisco. Those are Saturday games. And Sunday, Tampa Bay at Detroit and Kansas City at Buffalo. What's going to be the best game?
Yeah, I'm going to actually get down. I'm going to go down to Buffalo and see that game. I just think it's going to be another epic showdown. I have a feeling, though, that the Detroit-Tampa game could be also very epic. There's something about it, about those two teams. Don't sleep on Tampa, by the way, and you're down there. You're down in Florida. You know that. I love the Baker Mayfield story. I love that story. And quite obviously, we've watched Jared Goff, resurrect the Detroit Lions. I mean, the Lions are the Lion Kings there. It's fascinating, and that game's indoors, which was you look at all the other games that are going to be played for the most part. Weather was such a huge factor last weekend. I mean, Kansas City playing. I don't know what the weather forecast is for Buffalo this week, but I do know that, to me, that's the most exciting game. I think the closest game will be the Lions and Tampa Bay. I do think that Baltimore, in my mind, is still the prohibitive favorite to get to the Super Bowl. I really do. I think if there's going to be a game that won't be as close, or that's not going to be an upset, I think Baltimore over Houston for sure.
I suck at picks, and our viewers know. Don't take my betting advice.
Dude,
yeah,
I told you to take the Cincinnati Bengals winning the Super Bowl. You saw what happened there. So maybe go against me. I'm like the Charles Barkley. Just bet whatever I say. Go against my Rod's odds. Go the other way.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is, don't take my advice. I can't separate my heart from my head, and I'm really interested in the Tampa Bay-Detroit game. You talk about Baker Mayfield, and the Bucks. He goes to the Lightning game the other night, and the Lightning take a picture of him in the crowd. He's there with a buddy and his wife. He's just the kind of guy that could roll in. Most people could walk right by him and not even know who he was because he's not very big. And now the Lions have taken to trash-talking him. I don't know if you've been following the coverage at all, calling him out and saying they'd be even better with a good quarterback. And I'm like, you guys don't get it. Don't trash-talk Baker Mayfield. No,
don't do that
right?
to Baker Mayfield. Do not do that to Baker Mayfield. Do not do that to Baker Mayfield. You've seen what this guy has done in the past. You know, he's such a unique player. I mean, if you look at him, even as a quarterback on the field, he's kind of paunchy. You know, if I could say that, he looks like a catcher in baseball. The guy can pitch, though. Man, can he throw? He can run. I love the story. And again, like you think, hey, Rod, think about this. Not long ago, everybody's saying, "Oh, Tom Brady's gone." When he left the Patriots, they go, "Oh, there go the Patriots." When Tom Brady left the Buccaneers, "Oh, there go the Bucks." The Baker Mayfield story, to me, is one of the most compelling stories in all of sports. And if he can continue, again, don't sleep on this team. They're very electric. If he can get there, the path to the Super Bowl, I mean, I do think San Francisco is going to beat Green Bay, but look at all the young quarterbacks. How about this one? You look at all of the different permutations. How about a C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love Super Bowl? If somebody said that to you at the beginning of the year, you go, "Oh, yeah, right. Or what are you smoking? Give me another gummy." No. That could happen. It's football. It could happen. It's the craziest freaking sport sometimes.
We would definitely be submitting you for a drug test, which, by the way, I can't bring you on without talking about our beloved CFL. Matt Dunnigan, going into the season, predicted a Montreal-Winnipeg Grey Cup, and I almost submitted him for a drug test. And dagnabbit, if he wasn't right. Dunnigan, I mean, I haven't talked to you since the way it ended. Obviously, we love the guy. Is the CFL in your vortex portal at all right now?
You know, again, I think this is the time where you really concentrate on the National Football League, but I love watching the NFL for all the CFL players who play, because like once it's in your blood, you can never get rid of it. Rod, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know, even when you're not doing the games, I miss doing the games. I miss my partners. I still watch. I still think it was, again, when we look back at 2023 and the stories of the year, the Montreal Alouettes had to be, you know, a story of the year. And the unpredictability of the league last year. I mean, Winnipeg is, you know, I still think was, you know, truly, they talk about dynasties, and I know you have to win all the time, but man, they just keep rolling, and they keep signing more guys, you know, and they'll probably be back there next year. But Montreal kind of reminds me of a few of these teams that are still lingering in the NFL playoffs. Anything can and will happen, and much to the chagrin of, because guess what? We live in a betting world now, Rod. We live in a betting world where everybody bets on everything, and so I know one of my sons, unfortunately, is he's not the baseball player, by the way. One of my younger sons, he loves to get on the gaming sites, and I just tell him, dude, stop betting football in December, first of all. Never bet football around Christmas. Never.
Oh, you guys, let me know when he comes back. He's in the middle of a great story there. Let me know when it stabilizes at MLSE World Headquarters. I was enjoying this story. Obviously, I wouldn't tell anybody. I would not tell anybody not to bet, because Bet Regal is our daddy. He was just saying to his kid, don't bet in December. I was loving it. And I'm not done with Rod Black yet. I hope that he refreshes or does whatever he has to do. I'm clearly not the tech guy here. We got him back. Okay, you said don't bet in December. We lost you. Pick it up there, please.
Hope you can hear me. I'm frozen.
And gone.
Oh, I'm frozen. Here we go. Don't bet in December. Don't bet at Christmas. And, you know, probably don't bet in the football playoffs. It's hard, man.
I see. That's why you're saying it, because you're going to lose your money. I get it. Well, what's happened? We can hear you. We can't see you. And there's a joke in there somewhere. But what does he have to do, guys? Does he have to hit refresh on his screen or something like that? We're very much enjoying the Rod Black interview. Can you hear us, Rod? They're saying hit refresh, please. There's just one more thing that I want to talk to Rod Black about before we let him go, and we still have plenty of time left in this segment, so don't want to go to a commercial just yet. Let me know when we got him back, guys, please, and thank you. I'm digging up the Baker Mayfield story and the Detroit Lions trash-talking him. Okay, we got him. So here's the thing. You said you're going to Buffalo this weekend, so you'll be there with Taylor Swift and 90,000 other people, Rod Black. What does it say? I include you and I in the same generation. I'm insulted.
You have the same name.
The top story of the year the top story in the year in the NFL is voted as being Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, not Tom Brady retiring on February 1st after 7 Super Bowls. That just tells you where we are as a society in my mind. It's disrespectful.
Oh, dude, stick my finger down my throat. Like, come on, enough. I mean, so what? I mean, if they're worried about that, I will tell you one thing. We underestimate the power of social media and superstars. I will tell you that Taylor Swift is dragging a lot of young fans to games to watch, but I'm kind of tired of it. Yeah, like, you know, I think she's so talented. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. But, you know, when you're talking about Taylor Swift more than you're talking about the retirement of Jason Kelce, it's like, you know, I mean, come on. Like, if Travis's brother's going to maybe date Rihanna, then maybe that could be a good story too. But I'm so over all of that. And, you know, hey,
yeah,
listen,
well,
Taylor Swift shows up in Buffalo this weekend. Oh, my goodness. Rod, have you ever gone to a game in Buffalo?
No, I haven't, actually.
Oh, okay. So how it works is that, first of all, they just scream and yell and they're drunk the whole time. It's kind of my peeps. They jump on tables. And here's the thing. And the vitriol is like going to a game in Philadelphia, any sports event. But they stand. You stand. So last week, I know they were talking about the snow. It didn't matter. Nobody sits down at a Bills game. You stand. And again, I think the weather will be a factor, but the fact that Kansas City played in crappy weather last week, that's going to help them. So you just want a clear track. You want to get a good game. You want to have fun in Buffalo, and you want, you know, they'll diss Taylor Swift. That she comes up on that scoreboard, oh boy. It's like when Drake goes out of town when we were doing Raptor games. Everybody loves Drake. When they put Drake on the scoreboard in the visiting towns, man, they boo his ass off.
So she'll get booed in Buffalo is what you're saying. You'd be disappointed if she didn't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you should in sports, man. Now, the thing is, would they go outside and they buy tickets to her next concert? For sure. But she's on enemy lines.
It's not
man.
personal.
She's with the Kansas City Chiefs now. She's wearing 87 jersey. So how many of those jerseys,
wearing red?
How many of those 87 jerseys do you think they've sold? And how many 87 jerseys do you think they've sold to young girls who are suddenly watching football? I find that's fascinating.
Oh, thousands, if not millions. But I'll tell you the interesting thing. I've joined the same gym where Travis Kelce trains in the wintertime here in Boca Raton, and everybody's all excited that not only he's going to be here, but maybe Taylor Swift will come for a sweat
you got
this
bigger
winter
pipes.
too.
You got bigger pipes than Travis Kelce.
Not put together, I don't. Okay, Rod, enjoy the Raptors coverage, and thanks for pinch hitting with us today.
Hey, anytime, guys. Have a great football weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Baltimore Ravens. That's my pick this
Thanks,
year.
pal.
So don't bet them.
He's saying take it to the bank. Yeah, don't take it to the bank. That's what I say. Rod Black checking in from MLSE World Headquarters. JB in next. It's a Football Friday. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It sure is. Thank you, Rick Regan. And I just want to remind you that Canada's men's curlers, the top ones, are in the thick of the season. Their eyes firmly entrenched on a trip to Regina in March for the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI, and single draw tickets are on sale now, ranging in price from $24 to $70, depending on the draw and seat selection. But youth tickets are all just $9.99, no matter what draw it is. Curling Canada is committed to providing affordable options so the entire family can enjoy this world-class event. And just like the Scotties, the tickets are flying, so get your tickets now before the weekend is out at curling.ca/tickets. We're talking football, though, on a Football Friday. Let's bring in Jim Barker, and there's a lot to get to. Hey, Coach, if you don't mind me calling, if I may call you Coach, if you can take a stab at the poll question today, what'll be the best NFL divisional playoff game this weekend? What do you think it'll be?
Kansas City, Buffalo, not even close. You got, I mean, back in my day, you had Dan Marino and Jim Kelly going at it every year, and you had Peyton Manning and Tom Brady going at it. Now it's Mahomes and Josh Allen, and how can there be a better matchup than that? I mean, it's hasn't gone well for Buffalo the last couple of years, but they're going to be at home this time. Of course, they've got a lot of guys injured on defense, and that bothers me for them going against Mahomes, who's got a pretty much healthy offense. But that to me is the prime game.
How big are you on home field in the playoffs? Because you've been through the wars, and when Buffalo came out with their win over the Steelers on the weekend, I heard their people, their media, and their fans saying, now we finally got the Chiefs in our place. This is what it'll take to be the difference. Are you a believer in that?
I am. I do think that it helps you playing at home. It helps being able to have the crowd loud when you need it loud, not having to spend practice time on silent counts and all those kinds of things. I do think it is an advantage, and especially when you're talking about places like Kansas City and Buffalo, I think it's a big advantage. Now, Kansas City played in weather that's going to be very similar to probably what they're going to get on Sunday, although it'll probably be warmer Sunday than because there's a possibility of even rain. So it'll at least warm up a bit. But that to me is just it's a classic. To me it's the old Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, and Dan Marino against Jim Kelly. That's what it reminds me of when I was younger, watching these great Peyton Manning going against Tom Brady. You know, it just they're classics.
We expect it to be classic.
You do have the Lamar Jackson, probably MVP, against the future MVP, C.J. Stroud, both the same kind of players, both very interesting. And Houston, I was just shocked at how they dismantled Cleveland's defense, just shocked at it. And, that could make for an interesting ball game also.
Yeah, and I think was it 2 pick sixes by Joe Flacco on the Browns side. But that's the thing. A wonderful segue into the other games. Texans at Ravens. Baltimore favored by 9.5. And what I'm hearing a lot here, Jim, I'm not sure if you follow the American media, is pressure. They're saying, who's got more pressure, on these quarterbacks in these big games? You mentioned, is more on Mahomes, more on Allen. There's none on the Texans or C.J. Stroud. Expectations, how big a deal is that this time of year?
It's obviously it's tougher for Lamar Jackson. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. It hasn't been his deal. He's trying to establish himself as the top guy, and I think he'll win the MVP this year. But again, I think this is a big ball game for him, and he knows it. And but again, C.J. Stroud, he's just out there playing free. And it's just, say, with Jordan Love, although Brock Purdy is kind of in the same, they're both young guys. And Jordan Love has just played better than I thought he could play. I mean, watching him early, I just didn't think he was going to be that guy. And he's turned out to be that guy. I mean, he's making some fantastic throws and under pressure. And I just don't think that defense is good enough. And in order to, to hold up against, the tough 49er team.
Mr. Irrelevant is not irrelevant anymore. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Green Bay and San Francisco, I think I read this today, that they have met in the playoffs more than any other two teams in NFL history. I don't think that would surprise anybody. And here it is again, LaFleur versus Shanahan, but two different quarterbacks in Purdy versus Love. Major upset by Green Bay last weekend. I don't think you see one this weekend, do you, by the Pack?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think San Francisco's too good. Their defensive front seven is so good. I don't think Aaron Jones can have the same kind of game that he had last week. Again, you never know. But I don't see that happening. I just see San Francisco going out and doing what they do. And, setting up a game against, who's it going to be? Detroit, that Detroit-St. Louis game or Ram game, St. Louis Rams, and LA game last week turned out to be as great as I thought it would be. That was a great football game. I think Detroit's an interesting game again this week. So it's Baker Mayfield coming in. You got two former number one draft picks that maybe haven't lived up to the number one billing, playing quarterback for each team. And, Tampa Bay, they're going blitz at probably 75% of the time against Jared Goff. So again, there's so many great storylines on these playoff games.
Yeah. I'm dying to ask you about the Cowboys, and I'll get to them. But Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, how come we never hear NFL fans complaining about weather or talking about moving the season up like CFL fans do? You want to take a swing at that?
Well, the NFL has a lot more indoor stadiums. That's one thing. Our only indoor stadium is in Vancouver. I think that because of the hockey run that we have up here, for fans to start when we start, basically it's football and baseball at that time. And I think that's again, we're not the NFL. This is 3-down football. It's different. And to be able to be done prior to the really bad weather hitting. I mean, you get Grey Cups in the snow, obviously, but for the most part, we're getting done then. It's one of those things. When you look at where they play the Super Bowls, they're always indoors. They don't play them. When they played in Minnesota, a great thing, they were indoors. So they don't ever play in the elements in these big ball games. I mean, they have obviously in the playoffs like Buffalo and Kansas City, but for the most part, the Super Bowl game never going to be played outdoors. So I think there's a difference there. And again, I think more of it has to do with hockey and us being in the CFL, being able to be through a lot of our season before hockey starts. And then once hockey starts and that kind of thing, we taper down when we play our games. And so I'm just guessing. I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah.
But
yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Canadians like to complain, specifically CFL fans. But I like to complain about the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm a Cowboys fan. And I was a little surprised Wednesday night when I was sitting at a hockey game here in Miami and heard that the Cowboys were bringing back Mike McCarthy. I'm a little shocked. Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was real surprised. I thought, to me, Bill Belichick makes sense, or it looks like he's probably going to go to Atlanta now. But I figured there was no way that he was going to. That was a team not prepared to play. And how you can go into that kind of game with that kind of stuff on the line and play. I thought McCarthy called a brutal game. It was like he was just scared to death. I thought he called the game like he was scared to death. And, you can't do that. And again, will they ever get by the playoff? That's next year. If the same kind of thing happens, what's going to, I don't know. I just, the Cowboys, until they do it, I've said it all. I thought they would win that game easily. I really did. I just thought Green Bay's defense, there's no way they can shut down. And, to have happened what happened was, I was surprised. But
you mentioned the pressure on Lamar. Well, yeah, you mentioned the pressure on Lamar. What do you think felled Dak in that game? Succumbing to pressure, or is he just not that good? Because I think he's just not that good. Not worth $59 million a year, anyways.
That very well could be. It's again, is he good enough to get you close and not good enough to get you over the hump? That could be because he played terrible. But I didn't think McCarthy helped him. I really didn't. I thought that was bad. I want to talk about a couple of CFL things too. There's that interesting thing going to happen that has never happened before. Quantez Stiggers, who was our Rookie of the Year in the CFL this year, was 21 years old, not old enough to play in the NFL yet. This year is like his third year out of high school, so he's eligible now to go to the NFL. Well, for the first time in history, he's going to play in the East-West Shrine game. No CFL player has ever played in that game. Next Saturday, next week, he's going to play in that game, which is interesting because they have stickers they put on their helmets, and they exchange stickers with other teams and put different stickers on their helmets. There's going to be Argo stickers, CFL stickers all over the field in the East-West Shrine game. So I think that's going to be fascinating. Very possible the Senior Bowl is going to bring him. They're still contemplating it, having a CFL Rookie of the Year playing in the Senior Bowl, possibly against the top seniors in the country. And the East-West is the next, right below the Senior Bowl. And then there's very good possibility he's going to go to the Combine, the NFL Combine. So this guy is getting treated like a college senior. And I think a lot of that has to do with the NIL down there now. Everything has changed. And you wonder whether players down there who might struggle will say, why not go up and make 75 or 80,000 Canadian and go ahead and play for a couple years and then go down there. Now, are there a lot of Qantas Stiggers that are good enough to play as rookies up here? That's something to be questioned, but there are some down there. So I think it's going to be fascinating to watch. There have been a couple guys drafted. Jerron Bolden was drafted in the 4th round back from Cal Murphy. And we had it with the Argos, we had Jermaine Haley drafted in the 7th round, but they never went through any of this, no combine, no all-star games, no anything. They got drafted from what they did during their season. So I think it's an interesting thing fans might want to tune in to watch. How will the CFL Rookie of the Year, this isn't just a guy who played in the C, this was the Rookie of the Year in the league, going to play in the East-West Shrine Game against the top college seniors. I think it's a fascinating watch. And then the other thing I want to talk about was Ottawa and Drew Brown and them seeing what they wanted. I mean, I remember Edmonton did this with Mike Riley. They went out and made a trade for him prior to free agency so they could get him signed, know what it was going to cost him and what they were going to have left, and be able to help with selling with selling free agents. So I thought that was a really interesting move. As soon as they did that, they also signed Dominique Rhymes, the big receiver from BC, who gives them a true X receiver, which is, the single covered receiver, that guy who can go up and get it. Jalen Acklin is more of an inside slot. The motion helps him. He's very good catching the ball over the middle and those kinds of things. Now you put him in the slot with Dominique Rhymes out there and having to single cover a guy like Rhymes. Ottawa's making some interesting moves. And to me, one of the other ones that kind of flew under the radar, Braylon Addison re-signed. Now, he's had 2 years of being injured, and maybe he's done because the kind of injuries he had for the position he plays a lot of times spells doom. If he could play, he was the key. I was in Hamilton with Tommy Condell in 2019 when we had that great team that went 15-3. And the key to that, what made that offense go, was Braylon Addison playing R, being able to bring him into the backfield and do things like that. Again, is he going to be able to come back the way he was? If he is, this team's going to be interesting, this Ottawa team. Now, will Drew Brown will he be like Mike Riley? Or will he be like Nick Arbuckle, James Franklin, and the other backups that have gone when they get their opportunity? It's a lot different being a starting quarterback. I said that a lot with Dane Evans. So it was an interesting week in the CFL also.
Would you mind, can you sit through 3 minutes of a break and come back for a few more football questions?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Jim Barker, presented by EMJ Marketing. We'll be right back on a Football Friday. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, just a reminder before we jump back in with more of Jim Barker on a Football Friday. Telemiracle 50/50 is another way to support Telemiracle and also have the chance to win half the jackpot. It's truly a win-win for Saskatchewan residents, so get your tickets now at telemiracle5050.com. It's Saskatchewan's charity. They've come to us to help promote it. Can you please help us out by helping them? Telemiracle5050.com. All right, JB, if I may, let's bring him in, Coach. There are viewer questions, but mine is simply this. On the trade to acquire Drew Brown, how should Jeremiah Masoli feel, the incumbent veteran there in Ottawa, with this?
Well, my bet is that he's not going to be ready when they start, and he knew that. Again, how does he feel? He feels like he's going in a different role. He's hoping that he can be a guy that they keep around, and almost like a coach. Obviously he's not going to be the guy. It's going to be Drew Brown. They're not going to be competition. It's more. I mean, Crum now will have somebody who he can work with. Again, the question comes down to so many backup quarterbacks come with where they do great when they're at the place they're at where they're a backup. And again, it's kind of like Dane Evans. Dane Evans played 8 games in Hamilton as a starter when Jeremiah got hurt. Then when he was the guy and it was all on his shoulders, everything changed. And the pressure of that, of knowing you've got a whole organization on your shoulders, it's a different thing. And how Drew Brown will react, nobody knows. I know that Zach Collaros thinks he's a fantastic player. I know he talked to Tommy Condell about him, thought he was just a great player. But again, Zach Collaros doesn't know. Zach, when he left us in Toronto as a backup and went to Hamilton and won one of what I thought was the guttiest moves ever, when Kent Austin basically got rid of Henry Burris for a very unknown Zach. Now, Zach had played 6 or 7 games and done well, but there's still a lot of questions. This guy's only played, he had 2 starts last year, I think. So there's a big question mark there. So for Jeremiah, I think he realizes he's in another part of his career. I'm sure that they've been very honest with him about how they hope this year goes for him, where he can come in, help tutor him, help get him to grow in the system, because he'll understand the system very well, having been with Tommy before. And then if something was to happen to Drew Brown, now you've got an experienced guy that's there, that's been listening and been in every meeting. Maybe he's not practicing because he hasn't passed it.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you bringing up Ken Austin, by the way. And it should be written in a book somewhere that, yes, he did say goodbye to Henry Burris for an unproven Zach Collaros, and I'm sure Kent's smiling about that and wondering why he doesn't get credit for that. But that's just the way football is, and Kent did write a foreword for my best-selling book, Green Magic on the Rough Riders. I love me some Ken Austin, and he's in the news this week at Auburn, as you know.
Yeah,
Kevin the Medium is watching an Airdrie and wants to know your thoughts on the Arlen Bruce IV story. If you haven't heard, the CFL has voided his contract signed in December. Arlen Bruce IV, Arlen Bruce's son. We don't know why. Assuming it's because of the gambling violations in the NCAA where he never finished his collegiate career. Do you have a thought on that? The mainstream has not picked it up, mainstream media, but I reported it yesterday. Right. And it's true.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know enough about it, Rod. Was he going to be a Canadian? Had he lived long enough in Canada to be a Canadian?
I don't think it even matters now.
I don't want to. Yeah, if he's suspended for everything, then that's. I just don't know enough about it. I can't comment on something that, if I know about it, I'm happy to put it out there.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
We don't know why, but I talked to Jones yesterday, and it's true. The contract has been voided, and I think it's unfortunate. We don't know the reasons why. I think the biggest news in the CFL this week, aside from the Drew Brown trade, was Jake Ceresna, the two-time most outstanding defensive player for Edmonton, traded to Toronto for receiver Curly Gittins. And I wonder who was behind that. If Macbeth got in Chris Jones' ear and said, we need that guy, go get him, or what it is. Jake didn't seem too happy to be leaving Edmonton from what I could see.
Right, and Jake was a key part of that team. I think I think he's going to be harder for them to replace maybe than they know. It was a really interesting trade. And I was just talking so fast to try to get my 10 minutes in. So that's why I didn't bring up the Ceresna Gittins trade, because it's another great thing that happened this week. And I do believe that McLeod wants to be surrounded by some people that he has a comfort level with. I think Curly he's a very high priced guy, very deserving. He was 2 years ago, he was the best Canadian receiver in the league. He makes big plays. I think that Toronto felt very comfortable with the development of Tommy Neild, and they've got 4 receivers. They still have Dejon Brissett they're trying to sign. I think they see Brissett more as a true Z receiver. And Curly would play in the slot and come back there, but I don't feel like they need that from a ratio standpoint. The Ceresna trade for Toronto, why they need him, because they have Hendricks and Oakman they can take a pick at, because Ceresna makes, I think, $220. He's one of the highest paid in the league defensive linemen. And they already have Flo Arimolade, who redid his deal, but came down to about that 220, 225 range, I believe. I have not seen anything, but I believe that. And so Ceresna kind of says, okay, Hendricks or Oakman's not going to be back. Now, either they already know they're going somewhere else. Again, Corey Mace is involved. Maybe they think they're going somewhere else. I don't know. But it was interesting from that standpoint, in that I see Ceresna more as an interior player, and he played more on the edge with Jones, because Jones played a lot of 3-man front. As an interior guy, he's with Hendricks and Oakman, and they have Jared Brinkman, 3 really good ones in Toronto, and why that deal would help them a lot, unless they know they're going to lose Hendricks or Brinkman. Hendricks or Oakman. Whoop, I can't hear you.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
So what was it like coaching the Panthers in the 90s at the old Miami Arena? And he said it was in a bad end of town, and the police told him, when you come to a red light around the arena, don't stop. Keep rolling through because they'll come and steal your car. And he was driving an 86 Toyota Corolla. So he said he came up to a red light, and he didn't stop. He rolled through the red intersection, and some local yelled at him, "Don't worry, we wouldn't steal that piece of garbage."
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, that was Doug McLean's story on our latest Cats and Bolts podcast, where Serena and I talk NHL hockey with a Florida twist. Thank you to Doug McLean. And the entire Florida hockey community has been awesome helping us out. But we're here on the RP Show talking football on a Football Friday. And just ahead of Jim Clubber Lang, I appreciate everybody sitting through. The technical problems are all mine. Put it on me. Put it on me. In a world where everybody likes to point fingers, not here. It's my fault. Hit the wrong button here. Producer Clark's gone. As you know, Moose is gone. It's not Tuna Turner's fault, our fill-in producer. That's a fact. Tuna Turner. That's his name. He's simply the best, right, Tuna? What's love got to do with it? And just before we bring in, Director Jordan's here as well, but none of this is ever, it's not him. No, he's the best. He is the most solid guy on this crew. He's done more shows than anybody else. So before we bring in Clubber, and we're going to have fun, and thank you to Jim Barker, by the way, because we lost audio near the end of his interview, but he got it. He said all he needed to say. Here's a sports update for you. You people, as we are Canada's #1 daytime sports talk show. Thank you. Coming your way on Game Plus Television and, of course, Metro Atlanta, WQEE, where we are Atlanta's NHL show. Thursday night was a jam-packed one in the National Hockey League. Austin Matthews scored a hat trick as the Toronto Maple Leafs beat the Calgary Flames 4-3, snapping a 4-game slide. The red-hot Edmonton Oilers won their 12th in a row. They beat Seattle 4-2. The Ottawa Senators dominated the Montreal Canadiens 6-2. And the Vancouver Canucks hung on for a 2-1 victory over the Arizona Coyotes. There are 4 games tonight, including the Florida Panthers here, home to the Minnesota Wild on Star Wars night. Nerds unite tonight at American Bank Arena. I can't wait. Former Raptors star Spicy P. Pascal Siakam was expected to make his debut for the Pacers tonight in Portland. Raptors traded the 2-time All-Star to Indy on Wednesday for a package that included 3 first-round picks. The Raptors face the Knicks Saturday. And our sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now, Mean Girls. From the comedic mind of Tina Fey comes a new twist on the modern classic, Mean Girls, now playing at Landmark Cinemas. Okay, so let's please bring in Jim Clubber-Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Thank you, Jimbo, for sitting through all of that preamble. And an hour ago, Rod Black, like yourself, an iconic Toronto and Canadian broadcaster, Rod Black was on, and he said his big story, we opened the show with the big story. What is it in your world? He says for him, it's the Raptors. Is it for you?
No. I mean, it's a big story that Pascal Siakam was traded, but the Raptors' cachet has fallen on hard times with the team's record. But right now, it's the Leafs. The Leafs dominate the headlines. The blown leads going into last night's game in Calgary was a major issue in the Toronto sports landscape. There are so many things that play here. The Leafs are... Right now, if the season ended, they'd play Florida in the first round of the playoffs. And if you're even a Leafs fan being realistic, like, I don't know if they can beat Florida right as they're constituted right now in a first round playoff series, especially some of the issues they're having holding leads. And it is the Dallas Cowboys of Canadian sports. It's constant drama, the constant soap opera. It's almost like a manic depressive thing. Every win is multiplied by 10. Every loss is fire Keefe, get rid of this one, blow it up. The Leaf fans I don't know what it is. It's getting worse over the years. And maybe part of it is seeing other teams win, other teams be successful. But the up and down emotions of the roller coaster Leaf Nation are unlike anything I've seen recently, Rod, I got to tell you.
Well, there's no wrong answer to what's your big story because it's different for everybody. And Rod Black joined us right from Scotiabank Arena. He was down there for some things, the Raptors media availability or something. I don't even know what Blackie's doing now, but I'm sure for you overall it's the NFL in your own mind, and in Toronto it's the Leafs. I will say this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, for me right now, it's kind of like 1 and 1A. I mean, because it's the NFL playoffs, but the drama surrounding the Leafs and everything it's pretty close, Rod. It's pretty close.
Okay. I will indulge Randy from Winnipeg because he's a P1 viewer. He was with us every day, and he says, any thoughts on the no goal by the Flames last night? TSN made it sound like the video referee was the first star. Listen, kudos to Sheldon Keefe for having the presence of mind and a good coaching staff to call that hand pass that didn't even really look like a hand pass, but they got the challenge. He's 4 for 4, and the Leafs go on to win 4-3. I laugh because Jermaine Franklin, we both know him very well. He said, this is why everybody hates the Leafs, if you saw his tweet, because of calls like that. I'm like, no, that's not why everybody hates the Leafs, Frankie. We have our other reasons. But
Jermaine, think about it. I mean, if it was Calgary up a goal and the Leafs, their video coach caught them doing a hand pass, he would have wanted them to say something to the bench and say, you got to call that and get video review. Any team that, if it's in the rules and your video coach is on the ball and calls down to the bench and says, you got to challenge that, and it goes your way, well, that's part of the game. That is part of the game in pro sports. We've seen it in every kind of sport right now, is the good challenge and the bad challenge. And right now, the video coach being on the ball in the moment and realizing, wait a second, that's a penalty or that's a hand pass or whatever it is, and challenging it and being successful is big. I mean, we've seen this in every level of sports. The bad challenges blow up in your face, but the good challenges can make a big difference between winning and losing. And in pro sports right now, especially in the NHL, I'm finding, especially really good teams, they're all within a few games of each other. There really is no margin for error, Rod. So if you don't make that call and you find out after the pack was a hand pass, I mean, Sheldon Keefe was going to be roasted on a spit in Toronto.
We have gone to the dogs. Feed that thing. Whatever.
I know.
Whatever it
Say
takes.
hi.
Hey, wait, hey, what is that dog's name? Candy? What's it? No, that's Van Stone's dog. What? Monty.
Okay.
Okay.
Monty.
We have a regular viewer. Monty.
Yeah.
There you go, Monty. Who does Monty cheer for in the NFL?
Right. Well, I tell you what, she was cheering for the Packers last weekend because she was blown away how good Jordan Love was. And she does have an affinity for the Buffalo Bills because she likes cold weather. But yeah, no, it's I think for me last weekend, the biggest thing of anything was two young quarterbacks, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, playing as well as they did. Basically mistake-free football, making big plays, and outplaying bigger, badder, better opponents to come up with playoff victories. It was phenomenal to see. Phenomenal.
Well, here's where we got some time to settle in, man. And I'm sure you enjoyed when you were doing mornings all those years on Fan 590, these types of discussions where we can just sit down and talk about the items in sports. And before we get to the Cowboys' decision to bring back Mike McCarthy, I saw somebody say coming out of Wild Card Weekend that the football gods are never wrong. They always get it right. And the Detroit Lions are still playing, and the Dallas Cowboys are not. And they're referring to the infamous not reporting or who reported, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Like, I agree with that. I full-on agree with that. The football gods and the hockey gods, they'll always sort it out. Do you see some poetic justice there that the Lions are still going and Dallas is not?
There is a little bit, Rod, but I think I also want to give Dan Campbell and the front office and the Lions credit for what they've built there. When they went in there, the Lions were at complete rock bottom. They were building from scratch. They brought in Jared Goff, who was a cast-off in L.A. Their drafting has been nothing short of brilliant. And Dan Campbell had to convince his players that Detroit can win, that the Lions can win. For years, they just can't. I mean, 30 years without a playoff win. And he can, when I might say 32 years, and he convinced them that they could do it and get it done and be a winner. And so they drafted phenomenal. They've built really strong offensive and defensive lines. They rebuilt Jared Goff's confidence. And he's got that, it factor about him as a coach. As a player, how could you not want to play for him? How could you not want to perform for him? They always talk about that, I'd run through the wall for that guy. That's Dan Campbell. And you saw Eminem and all these Detroit legends cheering them on. I've been to Ford Field a number of times. It's a very underrated stadium. When it's loud, it's very loud. And it's a big advantage for them, knowing that you've reignited a beaten down fan base who for years felt like they were never going to win. It was always someone else. And now they're like, wait a sec. We won our first playoff game since January of '92, and we could beat Tampa Bay and make it to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, well, hey, you tend to your dog Monty, and by the way, Monty's been great, so you're good. I want to read you this.
Sure.
I want to read you this from a preview of that Tampa-Detroit game. Where is it? Baker Mayfield followed up his best season with an excellent performance in a 32-9 victory over Philadelphia on Monday. But Gardner Johnson, a Detroit cornerback, wasn't all that impressed. He praised the Buccaneers wide receivers this week and added they'd be even better with a good quarterback. Baker shot back by questioning whether Gardner Johnson's watched any film because he mentioned Bucs receiver Russell Gage as one of the dangerous playmakers, and he's been injured all year. The trash talk on the field should be fun. I think it's stupid if you're going to trash talk Baker Mayfield. He's my guy, but he's the kind of guy that goes out and lights it up because of stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, Baker I think he'll be decent. I think the big concern, if I'm Dan Campbell and the Lions, is how well the Buccaneers defense has played the last 4 weeks of the season and into the postseason. I mean, their defense in the first half of the season was mediocre at best. And Todd Bowles has made his bones in the NFL as a defensive coach, and it shows in the last month. And you saw it last week, and they were Vita Vea, their outstanding defensive tackle, and the rest of that defense. They were one of the first teams this year to stop the Eagles in the tush push at the goal line. I mean, up until then, that's the one thing that's worked time and time again for the Eagles is almost that rugby scrum pushing, Jalen Hurts into the end zone. They stopped it cold. And so the Buccaneers defense is going to be a problem for the Lions. And that's, I think that's my concern for Dan Campbell. I can basically go toe to toe in a lot of different levels, a lot of different phases of the game. But how Jared Goff and the offense can counteract that Buccaneers defense will be very, very interesting.
So Jim Barker was with us last hour, and I asked him about the Cowboys' decision to keep Mike McCarthy. And I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'll recuse myself from being objective. I wanted him gone. I don't think Jim cares. And he was like, I was very, very surprised that they kept Mike McCarthy. So how about you?
Not only was I surprised how quickly Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office announced it. But often what happens is with NFL rules, you can't really talk to coaches who are still in the playoffs until a certain point deep into the playoffs that now you can say, I can talk to the 49ers defensive coordinator or, the Ravens defense, whatever it is. So I thought, well, why don't they wait a couple weeks and see how the playoffs shape up and maybe there's someone out there. But right away, they just named McCarthy. I mean, he did win 12 games in the regular season each of the last 3 years. So there is some good points to what he does. The offense wasn't horrible, but their defense got torched, absolutely torched by the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. So, is he going to get a different defensive coordinator? Is he going to change the defense? I mean, I think up until that game, that's been one of the strong points of Dallas this year is their defense. So I'm kind of confused, but I mean, here's what I'm not confused. I don't think Jerry Jones's ego could have handled Bill Belichick basically running the show. Because Bill Belichick has had a second interview or about to have a second interview with the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't think the Atlanta front office and their ownership would have any trouble with Bill having quite a bit of power if he takes over the Atlanta Falcons. They'd say, here, what do you want? What do you need? Rich McKay would be the president, but Bill would have a lot of say in personnel and that. And maybe Jerry Jones wasn't willing to give that much power and that much clout to Bill Belichick because of his own ego. Where, the Atlanta Falcons, I think they're making a smart play to bring a guy like Bill Belichick in because there's some talent in Atlanta. And I'd really, really, really be interested to see what Bill Belichick can do with that team, especially in a division that is not outstanding. The Bucs won with 9 games. You win 10 games, you win the division, right? So, it's a good situation for him to go into if that deal comes to play. And I think it's going to be quite interesting. And I think that at the end of the day, Jerry just couldn't handle the thought of Bill being the spot. That's what happened with Jimmy Johnson. Jerry couldn't stand the fact that all the praise was going to Jimmy Johnson when they were a Super Bowl team. And he felt he should get some of the praise. And it's been blowing up in their face for 20 years since.
Tell me about it. I know. And it's very, very... Well, what do you think about the Leafs comparisons? I think it's very accurate to Dallas.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, absolutely. Franchises that make a boatload of money, hugely popular on TV and social media, merchandise and everything, but playoff failure. And it's interesting. You've got to go back to almost the last time Dallas was really good in the postseason to when the Leafs were consistently good in the postseason. And isn't that interesting? So, yeah, there's a lot of similarities. Teams that make unbelievable money. And let's face it, Dallas in the NFL and the Leafs in the NHL are the two most valuable franchises in the respective leagues.
Yeah, so what's the incentive to win? Again, trust me, I get it. Now, I got to ask you this. We do have a gang here in South Florida that gets together, and some are football inside guys, coaching industry guys. And it was weeks ago, right after Belichick got toasted in New England, they said he was going to Atlanta. And I kind of sit here and wonder, is this all predetermined? I kind of have a sense that it is, and it's just a smoke screen for everybody. I'm not claiming Theron Fleury anti-vax conspiracies, but I'm just saying overall, do you think the Falcons know who they're hiring and Mike Vrabel knows where he's going, and above all, Jim Harbaugh knows where he's going, despite kind of dangling Michigan on a contract extension, but talking to the Chargers and talking to the Falcons and I think talking to the Raiders. Do you think this is all a smokescreen?
I don't think it's a smokescreen. However, I think we would be naive, Rod, to think that conversations don't take place away from the spotlight, where owners and team presidents speak to coaches and assistant coaches in a covert way, so they're not blatantly breaking league rules to gauge the interest. Hey, if things don't work out in City A, would you be interested in coaching my team? I absolutely think those conversations take place. So that's, if you want to call that predetermined, sure, call it predetermined. But I think that's a business thing, right? I mean, in any level of business, whatever the business is, there's going to be times, I think, Rod, where rumors go out there that so-and-so may be leaving a certain company, certain team, certain organization. And if you hear about the rumor, you may just send them a note saying, hey, if this happens, I've heard about it. Would you be interested in working for us? So that's just business. And I do think those conversations happen in the NFL and pro sports all the time, Rod.
B. Henderson in Winnipeg writes in and says, who is the Jerry Jones of the Leafs? I know what B. Henderson's saying. Who is that egotistical person? Right. It's not that. It's the prevailing attitude that we don't need to win and we're still going to make billions. That's the similarity between the two. That's my read on that. We had a new viewer from Franklin Square, New York. He wrote in before the Eagles-Buccaneers game, watches on, I think, Altus cable network there, the Carries Game Plus. And he said, did we think Sirianni was going to get toasted if the Eagles lost? Which they eventually did, and it wasn't even close, 32-9. He's still got a job, though. You think they bring him back?
Well, I'm not sure about that. The way the season ended for the Eagles, the way the playoffs, blew up in their face, reports of unrest in the locker room. There was the blow-up with Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert at the sideline. I know it seems crazy because he was just in the Super Bowl, but, you could lose a team as much as you can gain it. And I have to think there are some serious conversations taking place with the owner, Jeff Lurie, and management and the front office. Like, if we get this coach, are we a better team? I mean, it has to happen. There's only 8 teams left in the NFL right now, and the Eagles aren't one of them. And by mid-November, this past mid-November, everyone assumed they were going to be in the NFC Championship game. I mean, they were just looked unbeatable. And then everything blew up in their face, and they're out, one and done. So, the conversations are being had. I don't know if it's going to take place, but absolutely, I can't imagine they're not having conversations. If we could get this coach, are we a better team if he replaces Sirianni? And so whether or not they come up with an answer, and if maybe they think it's Mike Vrabel or Jim Harbaugh or somebody else, we don't know. But I absolutely think those conversations are being held. And until we know for sure that Sirianni's coming back, I wouldn't be too confident if I was him about whether or not I will be back.
Yeah, well, if he is fired, I don't think any of us would be surprised. It's a little like McCarthy. If he's brought back, I think we would be surprised. But they were just in the Super Bowl last year. So we'll be back, and when we do come back, we will play Bet Regal Deal or No Deal with Jim Clubber Lang. So get ready, Jim. Nice. It is your NFL weekend picks with the point spread from Bet Regal. We decide whether you're going to take the bet or not. We'll be right back. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
As you can see, we're a very serious show here on the RP Show on a Football Friday. We're very serious about curling, by the way, and the top men's teams in the country are thick into their season with their eyes on a trip to Regina in March for a spot in the 2024 Montana's Brier, presented by AGI. And tickets are on sale now for individual draws. They range from $24 to $70, depending on the draw and your seat. But all kids' tickets for all draws, everywhere in the house, $9.99 only, as Curling Canada is committed to providing affordable options so the entire family can enjoy this world-class event. Don't wait. Get your tickets now, curling.ca/tickets. Jim Clubberlang is with us, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Jim, thank you for joining us for this segment that normally DuPont fills in for. I think you'll do far better than he does as we play NFL Deal or No Deal for Bet Regal, our exclusive betting partner. I give the betting lines. Jim's going to decide whether he takes the bet or not for this weekend's divisional playoff games. And, Jim, here we go. Saturday, the first game is the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar and company favored by 9.5. Are you taking that bet?
I'm taking the Texans to cover.
Ooh, which means you're not taking the bet. Thank you. I'll take Baltimore to blow them out. Later that night, it's the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers, and the Niners are favored by 9.5. Are you taking that bet?
No, I am not. Not taking that bet. I mean, that point spread's too much for me. I'm going to say Green Bay covers.
I'm with Jim, not taking the bet either. On Sunday, Tampa Bay at Detroit. The lines get a little narrower. Lions favored by 6.5 at Ford Field. Are you taking the bet?
That's a big spread, but I'm believing in Dan Campbell, the Lions, and the Ford Field Magic. I will take that bet.
He's taking it. I'm not. Got to go with Baker. This Baker always delivers. And Kansas City at Buffalo, the game of the weekend. The Bills favored by 2.5 in upstate New York. Are you taking the bet or not?
No. They just announced the Bills will not have Gabe Davis, won't have safety Taylor Rapp, won't have a cornerback, Christian Benford. They're banged up. They've had trouble practicing this week. It's going to be a close game. And no, I'm not taking that bet.
Okay, I will take the Bills to win and cover the 2.5-point spread. Folks, BetRegal.ca is our exclusive betting partner. Sign up today and start playing this weekend at BetRegal. It's so much fun when we do that. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. Now,
my pleasure.
to get serious about it, though, well, you always were. I wasn't. Look at my outfit. We talked with Rod Black about it last hour. He's going to the game. Talked with Jim Barker about it as well. The venue changed. The Bills are very excited to have them in their park. They think they can finally beat him because it's in Buffalo. How are you on that bravado?
Well, it definitely helps Buffalo at home. Now, the one thing that it's not as much of an advantage maybe some people think is the weather is actually going to clear up a little bit Sunday in Buffalo. It had been bad again through the week. The players have had trouble actually even getting to the facility to practice this week, Rod. And they've had to do some of their meetings via Zoom remotely because the players simply couldn't get there. They had a bunch of the roads closed. So the preparation, there's issues there. They're banged up from the win over the Steelers. The weather basically actually will be warmer for the Chiefs in Buffalo Sunday than it was on their home game the previous week. So, I mean, for Kansas City, for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, yes, it's going to be loud. There's going to be lots of snow in the stands and all that. But weather-wise, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I worry about the injuries for the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, some of those key positions. They're banged up on the defense. And I wonder how Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to exploit those injuries with a lot of backup players in key positions on the Bills defense. And that's why I think it's going to be a very, very tight game.
Yeah, as you know, I don't think there are too many pro football players at 100% this time of year, right? I'm sure the Chiefs have their share of banged up players too. By the way, as I open the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033, our viewers have fallen in love with Monty. And I asked you who he cheers for. David in Winnipeg writes in and says, Monty cheers for the underdog, of course.
Yes.
Jeff,
thank you.
And Jeff, the Stamps fan in Calgary, feels that he cheers for the Coyotes. I guess it doesn't need to be league specific from the dog family. David in Winnipeg goes on to ask this. The thing I find curious about sports betting is the number of people who claim a game must be fixed because they lost their bet. I read this in chats all the time, especially when it's the NFL. The NFL doesn't need to fix games. If they did, don't you think they would fix them in favor of the Jets or the Giants, their biggest TV market? I mean, I hear it too because I follow fans on social media and I'm working the industry, but I also don't think the games are in any way, shape, or form fixed. And do you hear it? And if so, what do you think?
I hear it all the time from all sports. And Rod, there's too much at stake. Okay, players in the NHL, I mean, I'm assuming people know this, their pay stops once the regular season ends, and then they are in the playoffs. They get a share of money, but it's a fraction of what they basically are working for free to win a Stanley Cup. And it's 2 months of hell, 4 7-game series. I don't think anyone's agreeing to fixing anything because it means too much to them to be a Stanley Cup winner, to win a Super Bowl, to win the Larry O'Brien trophy. You name the championship. Do I think that There has been some shady dealings with referees and gamblers in sports in the past, and we've seen evidence of that in sports around the world. Yeah, it'd be silly not to say that doesn't happen, but to say things are rigged and it's scripted, and I refuse to believe that, because in a football team, you got 50 some guys. You're telling me you can convince 50 some people to do something so someone wins a bet? I just don't see it.
For sure. And to be honest, I wish you could stand on a table and yell at all the fans, the millions of fans, and say it's not fixed. But then you look at who was the NBA referee, Tim Donaghy. That's why they threw the book at him. They'd have put him in the electric chair if they could have, because it threatens to bring down the whole thing. Man, sports betting's almost funding sports right now.
Well, it's not almost. I think it is. It's funding sports television. I mean, that's part of the problem for a lot of people. I don't know about your circle of friends, my circle of friends, who actually have the betting apps and do bet now and then. It's overkill. They feel like it's rammed down their throat. And what gets me is it's a line change. So there's that 20-second, quick line change. They're going to have a face-off, and all of a sudden there's someone's head pops up with a live bet right now. I'm like, wow. I mean, that's where it gets out of control, Rod, is it's in the game, during play, not even a TV timeout, and then they're telling you to bet. That's where I'm like, wow, that is, I mean, I know they want that gambling money, but it's almost too much.
Well, I don't think that it's any further pushed down our throats than beer ads and we just notice it more because it's new. That's my thought. I mean, as far as billboards in the outfield of Major League Baseball, just have a look sometime, and CFL as well. That's just my take. And again, there's no wrong answer to this. We got Jim for about 4 to 5 more minutes. I'm going to open up the floor. I'm going to open up the podium to whatever anybody would like to talk about, because Jim can talk about a variety of things. NFL, NHL is jam. That's kind of where we'll stay. But B. Henderson in Winnipeg says the Oilers can win 20 in a row, and I still wouldn't be convinced that they can win come playoff time. You're being snake charmed, Oiler fans. Of course, this is from a Jets fan. But I don't think it's, what should I say, ironic or fool's gold that the record set 17 games by the Pittsburgh Penguins in '93, and they never even got to the Stanley Cup. I think way too much stock is being put in this Oilers win streak and all the streaks in the regular season this year.
Maybe, but the Oilers needed that. I mean, up until the win streak, they were out of the wild card, and now they're beyond the wild card. They're in one of the top 3 in the Pacific. So I think that buys them a lot of breathing room. So if you're Connor McDavid and the Oilers, just keep stacking the wins. It gives you some insurance. Of course, it's going to stop eventually, and then you'll have the regular ups and downs of the regular season schedule in the NHL. But I mean, Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg, can they beat him in a 7-game series? It's a very valid question, because there's a lot of teams around the league would want Hellebuck if they could get him. And that's the biggest problem is, you're winning all these regular season games, game after game, but do you have the defense? Do you have the goaltending to win in a playoff series? And that's, in the last number of years, that's you either got phenomenal goaltending or you've got fantastic defense and solid goaltending on the back end. I mean, that's the problem with the Leafs. They can score goals all day long, but no one's convinced they've got the goaltending and defense to go deep in the playoffs. And that's why defensemen are so valuable at the deadline, because everyone's looking at depth in the defense or find that goalie that gets hot at the right time.
It's actually interesting you say that, because what did Brad Treliving come in and do in the summertime? He signed Max Domi, he signed Ryan Reeves, he signed Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
So those were all forward, and John Klingberg.
Yeah.
Who's got a pretty good resume as a defenseman. But I could see Toronto doing something at the trade deadline, but I wonder if you're the Oilers or the Jets, and even the Canucks, why would you? Given the way things are going, why would you make any additions to what you have? They probably will do something, but I wouldn't if I could see the Leafs doing it because they should.
I absolutely love what Rick Tocchet's done with the Canucks. I mean, that's the team I look at some of what their depth and the way they're playing. I'm like, damn, that's a good hockey team. I mean, that is a good hockey team. And I've heard, here in Ontario, well, they're okay, but they're going to fall on their face and they're going to they just keep winning. And the Leafs are going to find out this weekend because they got to play him Saturday night. And I've seen some of the clips of that Quinn Hughes and the way he plays. I mean, I've seen some elite defensemen over the years, but he's on his way to becoming in that category. And so you've got a player like that in the back end. And if you get some decent goaltending, why not Vancouver? So that's part of the problem for Edmonton. You're going to deal with Winnipeg and Vancouver out west because they're both having good years. And Vegas isn't going away quietly either, or Colorado.
There's a lot of great teams. It's funny, by the way, I've connected with Doug McLean this week. I don't know if you saw our social media. He's here in South Florida. He joined our Florida NHL podcast, and he blurted it out a couple of times. Panthers, Leafs, round one. I think you referenced it once here today. Are we thinking it's a slam dunk that those two are meeting again in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Unless I misheard you, but he's calling for it. Florida, Toronto, Stanley Cup playoffs again.
Well, Pierre LeBrun, actually, the reason I brought it up is he had tweeted it out saying, by the way, if the season ended today, that's the matchup. And if you look at the standings, they're kind of almost locked into that first-round matchup right now. Now, things could change, but that's what it looks like. And it may be just a difference who has home ice advantage in that first-round matchup based on the standings in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, I mean, I know it seems weird that we're in January talking about it, but I mean, Boston's got such a lead on both those teams. I don't see Boston falling in their face to the point that they would lose the number one seed in the Atlantic. I don't see that, Rod. So, yeah, that looks like it would be a Florida-Toronto first-round playoff series.
Well, we just passed the halfway mark. Listen, you guys been covering the NHL longer than me, but I'm saying, look how much has happened in the first 41 games. Do we not think there'll be a lot happen in the next 41 games? Not to mention the trade deadline. You know what I mean?
Well,
in terms of muddling up the point totals.
And so I think out west, you've got Calgary and Seattle are legit on the fringe to get into a wild card. So they're probably going to want to do something because they're that close. And it's the same thing in the East with Washington, Pittsburgh, and even the Islanders and the Devils. So you have 4 teams in the East that are just on the cusp of the wild card. And what will they do to get over the hump to try to get that last wild card? So I expect to be a pretty busy trade deadline because you're talking about 6 or 7 teams that are right there and the teams that are already there trying to establish. So trying to move up in the standings and hold on to your place in the standings in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season is going to be really interesting to see, Rod. And that's why I think a lot of teams will go, hey, we're only a couple points out. Let's make a deal and make a run for it. Because it wasn't that long ago that the LA Kings made the playoffs on the last regular season game of the season, ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So if I'm a management and I'm a coach, I go, they did it just a few years ago. Why can't we do it?
Calgary Flames might be one of those teams. Jim,
why not?
Thanks for pinch hitting with us. It's always a ton of fun with you. Enjoy the football, and we'll be chatting with you soon.
I just want to say something real quick. My wife and I had to drive help our daughter move to Edmonton over the holidays, and we had a beautiful drive through Saskatchewan, stopping in Moosomin, Regina, and Langham before we hit to Lloydminster and ended up to Edmonton. And driving in Saskatchewan, I absolutely loved it. It was wonderful. Love the province. Love everyone there. It's so underrated.
Beautiful place.
It's such and we were, we're used to Ontario farms, Rod. We were like, we can't see the end of this farm. We were driving and when's the farm end? And then
it's funny.
There's the farmhouse. We couldn't even see the farmhouse for the Trans-Canada Highway.
It's funny you say that because I was saying to Serena the other day, the average farm size in Florida is 200 acres. In Canada, that's a sliver of land. I'd like to pick up my farm and bring it here, where it goes for $2 million an acre. All right, Jim, thanks for the kind words, man, and stay warm up there.
Love you, Saskatchewan. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Jim. The average farm size in Florida, 200 acres. That's nothing. I think the average farm size in Canada is 2,500 acres. Anyways, we'll be right back with a sports update. And it's just me and you the rest of the way, whatever you'd like to talk about. 902-518-3033 on a Football Friday. We're on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. And all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Just texting Jim Lang. He had some nice words for me, so I'm just returning those. It's important that you do that, don't you know? Tell people you value them. A very unheralded trait in today's world, or habit. Folks, the Telemiracle 50/50 Lotto is live now. You can get your tickets at telemiracle5050.com, but you just got to be 18 years of age or over and physically in the province of Saskatchewan to buy your tickets. We'll be selling them until February 23rd to support Saskatchewan's charity. Winner gets half the final pot if you're not familiar with how a 50/50 works. And visit telemiracle.com to learn how the Kinsman Foundation is helping people every day in Saskatchewan to improve their independence and quality of life. Telemiracle5050.com. Please don't wait. Get your tickets now and don't make the organizers sweat. I'll remind you, because you got to keep drilling it into your head, the text line's open from now to the end of the show. 902-518-3033 for Sober Carpenter. Non-alcoholic craft beers. And you know what? It's Friday. Yahoo! I got one here. Yeah, buddy. God, you'd think I shook it up. Trust me, I didn't. It was just sitting on the floor here. And now I got beer everywhere. How about that? Non-alcoholic, I might add. But get your weekend started with Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beer. I do not want to wipe it on my robe that I'm sitting on from Bet Regal. Because I think if I threw it in the wash machine, that wouldn't end well. That's just a guess. Before we do get to your messages from our lovely audience, the Rod Squad, sports update on this Friday. We got some breaking news. Shane Pinto has signed a contract with the Ottawa Senators for the remainder of the season. That paves the way for the 23-year-old to make his season debut Sunday at Philly. Pinto, in October, became the first modern NHL player suspended for violating the league's gambling policies. He was banned for 41 games of the season. Neither he nor the league would reveal exactly what he did to draw the suspension, other than to say Pinto did not bet on hockey. His deal is worth a prorated league minimum of $775,000. I find it really interesting that the fans talk so much about sports betting, yet the mainstream media really doesn't unless they're being paid to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we do our Bet Regal Deal or No Deal picks, our NHL breakaway bet picks every day, but you don't see the talk shows that I have seen, like McAfee or Overdrive or Pardon the Interruption. None of them talk about betting and what it's done to sport. And when I say what it's done to sport, I don't think it has hurt it at all. Revenue is a great thing for everybody. And I guess they feel like if we just don't talk about it, there's no scandals. I would like to get, and I'm only halfway through the sports update, by the way, but I would really like to get to the bottom of the Arlen Bruce IV situation, and I may never. I don't know. I mean, I am not on the inside of the Canadian Football League. Do I have a good relationship with them? Yes. This football is part of the prize package that they sent me here in South Florida. But it's, if you're a CFL fan, you'll remember Arlen Bruce, the winner of 2 Grey Cups. His son suspended from the NCAA for betting violations at the University of Ottawa. He's now out of college football, signed with the CFL's Edmonton Elks in December. We've since learned that contract's been voided. And all I want to know is it because of his NCAA violations? Because if it's only about that to me is wrong. And I was told this came straight from the commissioner's desk, Randy Ambrosi. All the big issues do. And if it's no, we don't want any hint of somebody who's broken the rules with regards to gambling. It wasn't even in your league, bro. So I'd like to have that conversation. And if it has anything to do with his father, Arlen Bruce Sr., suing the CFL because of his concussion suffered during his Hall of Fame career, which he should be in the Hall of Fame, but they're punishing the kid because of what his dad did, that's just double wrong. But that's my take. Curling, Canada's Carrie Anderson defeated American Tabitha Pedersen 7-4 Thursday, no relation, to remain unbeaten at the Grand Slam of Curling's Co-op Canadian Open in Red Deer. In other round-robin games, Edmonton's Selena Sturmey posted a 6-1 win over Regina's Jolene Campbell, and Switzerland's Silvana Turanzoni needed just 5 ends to complete a 7-1 rout of Japan's Satsuki Fujisawa. Winnipeg's Jennifer Jones dumped Rebecca Morrison 12-5 in the early game at Service Arena. Later Thursday, Ottawa's Rachel Homan dealt Isabella Rana of Sweden her first loss with a 7-3 win. All the greats are there, I see. Sweden's Anna Hasselberg remained unbeaten by taking down Kate Cameron of Winnipeg 9-3. Chelsea Carey's filling in at skip for Cameron. Holy smokes, there was a lot of games. On the men's side, Bruce Mowat of Scotland stayed perfect with a 6-3 victory over American Corey Dropkin. American Daniel Casper handed Kevin Cooey of Calgary his first loss with a narrow 9-8 win. Matty Dunstone of Winnipeg beat Italy's Joel Retornaz 5-2, and Sweden's Nicholas Eden earned a 7-3 win over Scotland's James Craik. While we're at it, let's just keep going. In the final draw last night, Switzerland's Yannick Schwaller and Scotland's Ross White stayed undefeated. Schwaller won 8-7 against Winnipeg's Reid Carruthers, and White dealt Calgary's Brendan Botcher a 5-4 loss. So there you go. Sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham, Josh Hutcherson, Jeremy Irons, Dan Lee, Minnie Driver, and Felicia Rashad. That's right, formerly of The Cosby Show. And also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. We'll get to all and the last of your comments when we come back for overtime right after this. We're live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Here we go. Overtime is brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in beautiful Calgary, Alberta, Canada. 28th Street Northeast is where you can find them. Look up Randy and Michelle there. Tell them Rod sent you, and give them a follow on Instagram because Randy's putting all the cool things they do there on their Instagram. Overtime Hockey Lanes where skill and fun collide. 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. How about those Flames? As it is overtime and we talk about whatever you'd like to talk about. It's a little silly. I mean, I get up this morning because it was a later game. I was not going to see the end of the Flames-Leafs game last night. And I see everybody's complaining. Everybody's talking about the challenge by the Leafs, which disallowed a Flames goal. And the hot takes, they are what they are. I mean, I have mine. And sometimes I encourage you not to listen to me. Don't take me seriously. Because Jermaine Franklin, longtime friend of mine, works in Toronto. I believe he's from Toronto, but was in Calgary for 17 years covering the Flames for TSN. He said on Twitter, this is why everybody hates the Leafs, because of this challenge by Shelby. No, that's not why everybody hates the Leafs, which incidentally, I don't hate the Leafs. But that's not why they hate the Leafs. Sheldon Keefe was doing his job. Called for a challenge. He was right. The goal was taken off the board, and his team won. Why would you hate anybody for that? That's the mechanism that's put in place. Hate the player, don't hate the game. If you don't like the rule, take it up with the NHL. But Sheldon Keefe was doing what was best for his hockey team last night. I don't understand where Frankie was coming from on that. There's lots of reasons to hate the Leafs, but that's not one. Just my take. Wayne in BC, and I left my Sober Carpenter beer over there as I cleaned up. Wayne writes in, 902 line. He says, I wanted to let you know, Rod, that I just love Sober Carpenter beer. As a matter of fact, I mostly drink Sober Carpenter beer at home now. Thanks for promoting it to me. Thank you for picking up the mantle, Wayne, and being such a P1, Priority 1 viewer, member of the Rod Squad. You're here every day. It's outstanding. You're seeing it on the screen. Just ask for it by name. We have it here in South Florida at Total Wine and Spirits. It's all over Calgary. Why I'm saying Calgary, I'm not sure, but we spent a lot of time in Calgary the last couple of years. Kensington Wine and Spirits, Calgary Co-op has it. Lakeview Fine Foods in the Queen City of Regina. And you obviously found it in Victoria. And you can order it right online at sobercarpenter.com. Tim Penner is a new writer to the show. Tim Penner is in Abbotsford, British Columbia. Beautiful community there. I've been to that hockey arena. Why did I go? I went and watched the American Hockey League teams of Vancouver and Calgary play there one night. And I was real pleased with the green landscape and the dairy cattle dotting the countryside as we drove out to Abbotsford. Beautiful place. Tim said, BC is a beautiful drive to Flatland, Edmonton. That is a nice drive. Did it many, many times on a hockey bus. David in Winnipeg says, the Oilers and Leafs' Achilles heel is their goaltending. Leafs also lack team structure and tend to rely on their big three. Well, we got a half a season to go before playoffs, so I think we all expect these teams to be in it. Winnipeg, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver's joined the party. And from there, it's anybody's guess. But it's different than football, isn't it? We've sat here and spent a lot of time today on a Football Friday talking about what's going to happen in the NFL games. And we're going to see hours, and we are seeing hours and hours and hours of talk on television. You're hearing it on the radio, breaking down the numbers. And then you got a game like Green Bay and Dallas last weekend where the Cowboys had won 16 in a row at home. The best defense certainly in that game, and they don't even show up. There were 2 upsets on the weekend in the NFL. Will there be any this weekend? Just so you know, I'm picking the home teams, but I've told you don't take my betting advice. You're welcome. Hey, Arlen Bruce writes in and says, great morning, RP. I think the only 2 guys to break the Madden curse were Brady and Mahomes. You think Josh Allen will survive it this year? LOL. Chiefs all the way. And by the way, who will be the next CFL commissioner? Well, number one, its job ain't open. And I do kind of have a policy of not talking about jobs while somebody currently is in them. It served me well. So when it comes open, we'll talk about it then. I've got the Bills picked to win at home over Kansas City. All the home teams I've got picked to win. So that would mean Buffalo and Josh Allen will win. Sea Lightning 300. That's the account. Writes in and says, skilled teams have a disadvantage in the playoffs when their referees put away their whistles. Not going to disagree with you. And I'm wondering what sport you're talking about, by the way. I mean, I really loathe that every single day, pay attention, we're mired in this officiating talk. Like today, the Leafs-Flames game last night, or coming out of this weekend's NFL games, the officiating will be a large focus. It may not be the number one topic, but it will be a topic. And as long as you have the human element, there's going to be mistakes. And listen, you're probably not going to agree with me when I say these games aren't fixed. There's nobody in sport that will tell you that they are, because they're not. But the fans seem to think that they are, and clearly there's no convincing them. Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, have a great Friday, squad. Enjoy whichever games you watch this weekend. I'll be in Albany looking to see if the Firewolves go 7-0 on Saturday. By the way, NHL tonight, there are 4 games. Detroit at Carolina. I'll take the Canes to win. New Jersey at Columbus. I'll take the Devils to win. Minnesota at Florida. I'll take the Panthers to win. And Islanders at Chicago, I'll take the Islanders to win. Dub tonight, God's team. The Regina Pats are home to the Lethbridge Hurricanes. The Moose Jaw Warriors are at Swift Current. Saskatoon Blades at Calgary. PA Raiders at Edmonton. Red Deer at Medicine Hat. Portland at PG, Everett at Spokane, Seattle at Tri-City, Vancouver at Kelowna. Get out and support your junior teams, everybody. And when you do, drive safe. And, hey, from Chad and Lethbridge, have a great weekend, RP. Make sure you have some tissues for Serena when the Flames break the streak on Saturday. They're already talking about it. Battle of Alberta on Saturday. I hear they're wearing their Heritage Classic jerseys in it. Keep your stick on the ice. You too, Chad. We'll see you all Monday, noon Eastern, right here.
Who has more fun than us?